Hello folks, I hope you're all doing well. We are up here at the plot and it's a lovely Sunday morning. The sun's out a little bit. It's a bit cold, it's a bit windy, that's why we're starting off in the polytunnel, because the audio might get a little bit ropey outside with some of the wind at the minute, but we'll give it a try. But we are here to look at the main crop potatoes. I've got a bed, I've got a batch of main crop potatoes left, and I'm a little bit worried I've left them in the ground too long. So they've been in there all throughout the summer, all season. They need dug up, and it's one of those jobs I've just been meaning to do again and again and again, but I haven't. Everything else has come before it. So today's the day. They're going to get dug up. We'll have a look. We've got Maris Piper, we've got King Edwards, so we'll see how those two compare. But I'm a little bored. It's been so wet here over the last few weeks. It has been wet all the time, rain all the time. This is the first day it hasn't rained for ages, so you know there's a risk there that potatoes could have got damaged in the ground. They might have rotted a bit. We'll probably get more problems with scab and things like that, but there's only one way to find out. So bear with me a few minutes. We'll get out there, I'll get stuff set up, see if I can fix the audio in the wind, see how we get on. We'll get the potatoes up and we'll have a look at them. So back with you in just a jiffy. So just before we get into digging the potatoes up, let's just talk about the situation we've got here with the filming today. So I've got the wind coming this way, which is going to blow across the microphone, so I'll try and make the audio as good as possible. We've got the sun really low in the sky just over there, so if I turn my back to the wind to protect the microphone, I've got to put the camera there and it faces the sun, so everything gets blown out and looks ridiculous on the camera. However, if I put the camera over there so that the sun doesn't come across it, I squint and you get the wind from the audio. It's one of those days. It's not ideal for filming, but we'll get something done. We'll have a look. So this here in front of me is where I've got the main crop potatoes. We've just got one row of Maris Piper at the end here and one row of the King Edwards along here. So we'll get them dug up and we'll see what they're like. Like I say, I should have had them dug up about probably at least a month ago. But you know what? Nothing to lose, and digging potatoes up in heavy wet soil as well isn't great. You know, you want the soil to be dry and a bit light and fluffy. And I mean, I'll bring these over to the camera a little bit closer because I appreciate you're not right up next to where I am, but they're looking, actually the King Edwards are looking good. And I remember, you know, you remember Steve from Green Side Up, and I remember us having a little bit of a discussion before he very sadly passed away about what the best potato is. You know, you're sort of generalist and primarily for doing roast potatoes, because I love doing proper roast potatoes. And the downside of getting them out the ground, by the way, sorry, just to take a tangent there, is that you end up putting the fork through the potatoes. So it's not the end of the world, but it just means I've got to use those potatoes straight away. Anyway, let me just switch back to the roast potato discussion. And I've always been adamant that Maris Piper are the best for roast potatoes. That's my go-to all-rounder best main crop potato, and Steve was adamant that the King Edwards were the ones to have. So I thought, you know, obviously at the time it was before Steve sadly passed away, and I thought, right, let's grow some of each. And for those of you who don't know, Steve was a chef in his time as well, so he kind of knows not only what he was talking about all around the garden, but he was a bit of a demon when it came to food as well, and knew his stuff there. And there's another one that's gone through the fork, but again, we'll put it to one side, and I'll bring you over in a bit and we'll have a proper look at these. Some of them are size-wise looking okay, as always. There's some big ones, and there's some that aren't quite as big. But what I'll do, let me whip round, let me finish off getting the King Edwards dug up. We'll come over and have a look at them, and then we'll see what the Maris Pipers are like. Right, so you're off the tripod, and I brought you over here for a closer look at the King Edwards. So let's have a turn you around and zoom in so you can see along here. This is the sort of size of space that I've done here. So this bed is maybe about, let me just look at it, 4 foot across there. So that's maybe 4 foot across, and there was 3 seed potatoes in a row there, and these are the potatoes we've got from those 3 seed potatoes. So you can see there's maybe about 35 to 40-ish potatoes in this pile. I might not look at it on the camera, but it's a decent pile. And excuse me if it goes jiggly a second, I'm just going to readjust here so I don't fall over. But the potatoes, like, I'm not going to wash the mud off them, because if you keep the mud off them, it helps them store for longer. So I usually keep the mud on them, and they actually look in decent nick. I'm not seeing a lot of scab or any scab on them at all, really, to be honest. They're looking pretty decent. Obviously, once they get cleaned up, that'll be a bit of a telltale. And there's a few of them. I'm trying to find one that I've put the fork through. So there's at least 3 or 4 that I've put the fork through, but not to worry, because that'll be tonight's tea. So they'll be done for that. But you can see there, from the 3 seed potatoes that we've put in, that's not a bad haul. Size-wise, oh, there's one there that the fork's gone through. Size-wise, they're okay. You know, there's some smaller ones, as always, and you know, there's some medium ones, and then some bigger ones. They're decent, right? So over here, where you can see the weeds from along here, this is another reason I've been watching this and thinking I've got to get these dug up, because this bed needs sort of putting away for the winter. So we'll get covered up after I've done this. So we'll get the Maris Piper that run along here. You can just probably see the shores that have died away over there, the brown bits. So we'll get them dug up as well, and come back right at the end here, and we'll have a look at these 2 piles of potatoes side by side, and we'll see whether they're much different, because the Maris Pipers and the King Edwards that I've got from here, I don't know why I'm pointing at the ground and not facing the camera, they all came from the same place. So they're really good quality seed potatoes that I get from Potato House. So I go to Potato House every year. Great Scottish seed potato supplier, absolutely wonderful. So the seed potatoes are very comparable. The grounds had the same nutrition in it. It's the same bed. They're right next to each other, side by side. 3 seed potatoes each. So it'll be interesting to see, comparison-wise, sort of size-wise and volume-wise, just how these 2 compare to each other. So I'll be back with you in a few minutes there, and we'll have a look at how the Maris Piper look alongside those King Edwards. So back with you in just a jiffy. Well, that's turned out quite interesting. There's a good thing and there's a bad thing. Let me spin you around and have a look. So here we are. Here's the bed. Look, it's all been dug up lovely. I have dug through the Maris Piper again and again and again, desperately trying to find more and more potatoes to try and prove that Maris Piper are indeed the best. However, let's have a look at Exhibit A, the Maris Piper. So these are the ones that we've dug up again. Like I say, these were from 3 seed potatoes, and to say the return is disappointing would be an understatement. So not only are the potatoes much smaller than the King Edwards, I know they're muddy, but you might be able to see that, but there's definitely scab on these as well, and there's nowhere near as many. I mean, look at the King Edwards over there. Let's have a look. They are looking lovely, jubbly and perfect for roast potatoes. Maris Piper, not great, and especially the scab on them, so you know you can't use them with the skins on, so they're all gonna have to be peeled, which again, fine. Same main thing. I'll use these for roasties, maybe a bit of mash, that sort of thing. Nothing fancy, nice and straightforward, but it's just a little bit disappointing. Maybe the old fella was onto something with the King Edwards, but alas, the final piece of proof I need will be in the taste testing, so that'll get done at home at some point. We'll give them a bit of a comparison. I'll maybe do some mash with each and some roasties with each, and we'll do a bit of a taste test to see how they come along. Anyway, if you want to, please think about subscribing, because it's absolutely free. There should be a red buttony sort of thing on the screen down below. Give it a click and that is you subscribed, and you can see more wonderful potato reveals in the future. Maybe it's next year though. It's getting a bit cold up here this year for grown potatoes, but there's loads of other things going to be going on at the plot over winter. I know things slow down a bit, but it's that time of year where I start to get all those jobs done, and I think the mantra last year was do the jobs now that springtime Mark will be pleased that wintertime Mark came along and got these done, and we're definitely into that zone now. There's still a blooming rabbit knocking about somewhere, I can guarantee you that. The bed that I covered up. In fact, let's have a little walk down. Sorry, let's just leave the potatoes here for a moment. Let's have a walk down here and let me just show you this, right? So you remember when I was doing the green manure, and I did some beds and I covered them over in agricultural fleece at the end. So here you go, you can see it's still there, still going, and look what we've got on the top. We've got exhibit B after exhibit A over there. We've got rabbit poo on top of the bed. So the rabbit's still getting in, so the plan to replace the fence line that runs all the way along here, all this fence is coming out, new fence going in, that's another project. It's going to be getting done. Sorry for spinning you around all the time, and again I say the sun's playing havoc with the contrast on the camera and the colours. All this area over here needs sorted out. The mess with this frame, I'll do a thing about this frame, this arch, honestly what a waste of money that'll be coming. This all needs sorting out, this whole messy area. I've got a plan to sort all this massive bed out here, all this over here, the frames over here and beyond, and we'll be growing stuff all at the same time, so watch out for all that stuff coming. But anyway, I think that's me pretty much done for today. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.